Ciao belli, welcome to a new video. Today we're gonna talk about Lightroom. We're gonna talk about how I color grade my photos and how to turn a photo like this, which is not even a photo, this is just overexposure, into this. Or for example, this one into an Instagram banger. Stay tuned, we're gonna start right now. Here we are then with another video. Today we're gonna check Lightroom, and first of all I prepared one photo for you guys that you can download so you can actually do what I'm doing in Lightroom and maybe understand a bit more the software and how I color grade the photos. So what you want to do, go in the description tab, you will find a link. When you click on the link you will be directed to this Google Drive page, and what you want to do, you will be directed to this specific file called Autumn DNG. And we're going to talk about DNG files and RAW files. You want to right click on it and go to download. Once you have downloaded the files, then you want to go to your download folders. There it is. And now you just need to right click on it and open with, choose the application, which is Lightroom Classic. That's the one I'm using. We just click here and also usually tick this box, always open with. So whenever I want to open this file again, automatically it will open with Lightroom, and I just click on open and I will be directed to Lightroom. You might have a warning box like this saying I'm not sure about the developer of this file, so just open it up. It's not a virus, I promise. Open up, we're gonna import the file. It's already ticked. We just need to click on import, and we're gonna go to the develop tab right now. So this is the library. As you can see, you want to go to develop, and that's our photo. As I was saying, it's very overexposed, so it's a terrible photo right now. A couple of extra things as well, guys. This week I had a giveaway to give away. So if you still want to get a chance to win, you can go to my website and mamoair.com and just sign up, and you can win a gimbal for your smartphone, a GIYUN Smooth X. You still have time until the 5th of October 2020, so you better go on my website now and sign up. Also, if you are into video editing, you can check my Premiere Pro course on my website, still on my website. It's at a special price of £24.99 instead of £149.99. It's a complete course, video editing course of 14 hours with 18 sections, a lot of exercises. It's gonna be a lot of fun. It has a lot of good reviews and it's one of the best sellers on Udemy. So go on my website once again and check it out now. This has been taken in DNG file, which is still a RAW file. So usually when I take photos in RAW. What does that mean? The RAW file is actually a file that can gain and gather more information, more data compared to a normal JPEG. In this case, when you have a nice dynamic range, so a camera with a very wide dynamic range, you can gather this information in the highlights or in the shadows. And in post-production, you can bring back all the original colors, the original contrast of the photo, and make it much better. And I'm gonna guide you today on how I grade my photos. So let's get started. You wanna follow me step by step or just be creative and play with the buttons and the controls. But this is what I usually would do. As you can see, also Lightroom is telling me your photo is overexposed, and is gonna tell me this by these red areas. So first of all, I'm going to adjust the highlights of the photo. If you don't see this panel on the right hand side, you need to click this arrow. So you want to click these arrows. On each edge of your frame you will find different options, but the one I use are the one on the right hand side, which is actually the tools, what you can modify in your photo. First of all, as I mentioned, we're going to work on the highlights. So I just go down here in the tone section and I'm going to bring these highlights down until my red areas disappear. But I can actually try to go a bit lower, and look at the sky. The sky is coming back to life. I can see a bit of the clouds. What you could do is also just go and press auto and the software will work on the photo for you, but that's not what I like to do, so I just undo. I can bring And in this case, I would bring probably the exposure down a little bit just to check what's going on in the sky and the highlights. There it is. And you can really see how much information the raw file can gather compared to a JPEG. So definitely that's my first tip, always shoot raw. The second tip, and actually this should be the first, don't forget how important the color grading is. If you want to take your photos to the next level, this process is fundamental for you. So you want to get a color grading software or just do whatever you can with the software you have, but definitely this is gonna be the next step. So let's carry on. This is a bit too dark for now. I might increase the exposure a tiny bit to -2, so you can literally just press -2 and follow me along. And also I can play with the contrast just to bring those blacks back a little bit. Look at this, the image is changing already. What I would do, I would like to see more of the foliage here, so we can bring the shadows up actually and give this nice contrast between now the foreground, the leaves in the foreground and the actual background. But in the same time, we can bring the black down a tiny bit. There it is. It's really changing. Another thing I would do is to play with the temperature and see what's going on there. This photo was taken in sunset, so the color is already quite right. But as I can see, there's a bit of green in the sky. So let's see if we can get rid of it by adding some magenta. A tiny bit, so I got to 30 just to make it even, and I play also with the temperature. So that was the tint. Now I'm gonna play with the temperature, maybe a bit of blue, just to give that coldness, autumnal day feel, which I really love, by the way, because the sun is nice and warm, but there's a nice contrast with the mountains. We can also try to make it warmer if you want, but that's not really the feel I want, even though it's really nice, I have to admit. But that's what I like. These colors now give me really the idea of the day becoming cold and dark. The next thing I would do is to play with the clarity of the photo, just to give a bit of sharpness to the image. Of course, if you like the idea. So I just increase the clarity, and also look at the mist here. It's really coming back to life too. So definitely that's a good touch for me. You don't want to push it too much, because in some photos you will see kind of a digital effect and it doesn't work in all the photos, but in this one I think you can really push it, and look at that. I love it. I love grading because it really changes the quality of your photo. You can also play with the dehaze, which is gonna give more contrast again with the highlights and the dark parts of the image. I really like it. This is kind of Instagram ready, guys. And also we're gonna play now with the saturation. You can play with the overall saturation, but I usually play with the saturation of each individual color. And you will find this option down here. Of course, you can play with the curves as well, but that's not something I wanna do right now. So I just scroll through and play with the HSL color tab. What I can do here is to increase the saturation of the sky, so make it even more autumnal with the reds. You can see a bit of a change there, and with the orange in particular, of course. Wow, look at this. Amazing. And you can play with the yellows. There's not much yellow in the photo, so I just take them down and create even more contrast with the colors. You can increase the blue if you want to have the kind of orange and teal kind of effect, which is really common once again. But also in white, actually, if you decrease the saturation of the blue, it really works. I'm gonna keep it here at -24. And then you can play with the purple and the magenta and see what happens there. There's a lot of magenta in the trees, which I kind of like, so I keep it. And I'm gonna make it blend a bit more. So I go to +33, and the magenta, yeah, you can see the magenta here on the trees. I leave it on as well. What you could do also is to keep scrolling down. There's a bit of sharpening here, which sometimes I like, sometimes I don't. Actually, if I take it down in this photo, I like it. It makes it a bit softer. I can go to lens correction. Usually I go down here and we can actually enable the profile correction. So we're gonna work on the type of lens we used on the shoot. And you can change the make of the lens, which was a Canon, to, it was a 1635 f2.8. So we need to search this lens. It should be here somewhere. 1635, it's up here. So it's the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 from the top, number 6 from the top, 1635 f2.8 L2. And as you can see, what happened, the software deleted the vignette and it made the whole image brighter, which I don't like. So I'm going to undo with Command Z and I keep my original settings. In terms of vignette, also we can keep scrolling down. If you like or don't like the vignette, you can increase it or decrease it with post-crop vignetting. We just want to use the level once again and play with the vignette until you like it. I like it like that and -9, but also if we go back to the HSL color tab, we can actually play with the hue. So we can change the hue, maybe the orange of the sky, we can make it more red. And you want to go in the orange section here and bring it down towards the reds and look at the sky. Now I like it. Oh my days. I love this photo actually. It was so bad in the beginning because it was just overexposed, but now it's ready for Instagram. So we're gonna scroll down once again, and if you go down here to calibration, you can actually make the orange and teal effect even more. So you wanna play with the blue, with the hue blue, and there it is, bringing it down or bringing up. This is probably a more natural color of the photo, but we like it a bit extreme. So wow, look at the red of the sky, that's probably too much. So actually I'm gonna leave it to 0 as it was. You can play with the red as well, which is the opposite. You could play with these things all day long. I liked it as it was. I'm not playing with the calibration. I leave it like this. The last thing I'm gonna do, or the first thing you can do sometimes, is the crop. So you can crop and reframe the photo. What I would do here, there's a nice pic in the middle of the photo, so I make sure that is in the center of the photo. I just click here on the crop icon and I'm just gonna drag the sides of the photo until my pic is in the middle, more or less, there. And you could also make it a bit, narrower if you want more a landscape, a wider landscape, which actually works really well because I really still like to see the leaves in the foreground. It gives me that nice depth of field. And also here, if we wanted to, we could play with the rule of thirds. As you can see, my image is split into 3 horizontal lines, actually 3 horizontal spaces and 3 vertical spaces. And the peak is exactly in the middle of the vertical spaces, but also we have 3 different colors. So the orange of the sky, the mountains, and the woods, which actually breaks the photo in 3 perfect areas. And I'm gonna keep it like this. So what I would do is to double click on the image, I'm gonna crop it, and automatically the vignette will adjust to the current frame. Now, if you wanted to put this into Instagram, you could preview it as an Instagram post. So you just wanna go to crop, and down here in custom, you're gonna change the aspect ratio of the crop to 1:1. And you can just double click, or you just can see what's gonna happen in Instagram. There it is, that would be your Instagram photo. So this is gonna give you a lot of likes, well, I hope so. So I'm gonna go back and keep the long landscape to put on my Facebook or my website in my photography section. The last thing you wanna do is to right click on the photo and go down to export, click on export. This tab will pop up. You can choose the folder where you want to export your photo, and if you scroll down, you can rename the file and also choose the format of your new image, JPEG, PSD, and so on. What you want to do is to click export and the file will be exported in your new folder. And this is how I work usually in Lightroom. It will become a very easy workflow, but I definitely recommend once again to start grading your photos. And if you have already forgotten, I'm going to show you the original photo. There it is, and the final result. thanks for watching. I hope the video helped you a little bit in understanding how Lightroom works and how I edit my photos. I hope to see you in the next video, and until then, God bless you. Take care.